I'm not one to fearmonger, but like, I seriously am worried about the future. Where do you draw the line between fearmongering and like, hey, people, we need to do something about this? I've been working with teenagers for nearly 25 years. I've never been this concerned about teenagers and young people. And I say that with each passing year because each year it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. If you listen to what teachers are saying about students and kids, especially teachers that have been teaching a long time, y'all, it's scary. It's terrifying. Like parents turn to me because like I'm the expert in this area. And up until recently, I felt very confident in being able to help a lot of these kids and these families and these parents. These kids now, these young people, they are pretty much just giving up entirely on everything. They don't see any hope for a positive future. They don't believe that anything that they ever do is going to make a difference. And they are just completely checking out, like in droves.
I think the reason why this is occurring is because so many bad things are happening and like how the future seems so like unsure and like everything's changing, it's all going bad. It's like why work hard if the future is not even guaranteed? Like what? There's no point in sacrificing if there's no chance of a reward. You know what I mean?
They're just giving up and checking out. Period. They don't see any hope for a positive future. And again, you don't have to go very far to hear school teachers and what they have to say about the situation. It's terrifying. Like this keeps me up at night. We have to do something to help these kids. We got to do something to help these youngsters because they were dealt a bad hand. They really were. We dealt them a very bad hand. Not intentionally, not on purpose. We didn't have any idea what the internet would do, what social media would end up being, the harm that would cause relationships and mental health. One day we'll be able to see the evil that social media actually is and the detriment that it's had on us. Maybe, I hope. I just truly wish that we would all come together and care about this issue more and give it more attention. Because from where I sit, dude, it's terrifying to think about the future. I'm terrified. I'm not an anxious person. I used to be. I'm not anymore. But again, this one thing, this is what keeps me up, man. This is the one thing that really keeps me up at night.
Like I think it is a part of what he's saying and what I said at first, where it's like kind of like how the future doesn't seem so sure, and it's like why sacrifice and work hard if you're not even like guaranteed to like even make it out, you know what I mean? And also because there's so much like bad stuff going on and stuff like that, and also the cost of living has rise so much, and it's like wages have not kept up with that, you know what I mean? And people in like older generations, not this guy because obviously he has empathy for our generation, but a lot of old people, they don't understand that like how bad the financial situation is right now for younger people. Like they think all our issues is coming from buying Starbucks and like spending money on like Nitos and stuff, but they ignore the fact that cost of gas, cost of houses, cost of rent, cost of groceries, everything is so bad right now, and wages have not managed to keep up with that, and it's just horrible.
Now,
Oh,
one
but
of the benefits
and they're all like live below your means, but in a lot of cases your means are more than what you even get paid, so you're losing money every month just trying to get by, you know what I mean? That's the struggle that a lot of people are going through right now. But next video.
of involuntary early retirement is that I get to spend a lot more time with my kids. And just the other day, I got drawn into a very long conversation with my son. So it turns out that my teenage son and his gang of friends thinks that the future is going to be bad no matter what they do. So he thought that you might as well give up trying. Initially, I felt kind of annoyed. I felt that my son should get out there and fight life's contests instead of running to me and whining about it. Honestly, I felt that my boy was being lazy and entitled. I have given him so many opportunities, and why should he not take advantage of those opportunities to advance himself in life? Where is this defeatist, giving up on everything attitude coming from? And just then I realized something. I'm turning into my own parents. Because as I was growing up, whenever I had some rough spots in my life, this sort of attitude and response was exactly what I got from my own parents. I would be blamed for being entitled, for being ungrateful for the blessings that I have, and basically be called a screw up for everything. Pretty much every major decision that I've made as an adult, in the eyes of my parents, are at some level a mistake or a screw up or a disappointment. Now that I'm laid off from my big tech job, to my parents, this is the greatest mistake that I've ever made in my life. Now, I'm always going to love my parents, But in my personal opinion, this style of parenting is highly, highly counterproductive. And so I wanted to provide my son with a slightly higher level of parental guidance. As such, I had a much longer, in-depth conversation with my son.
See, what's it called? I like this guy because I'm in the same boat as his son where I'm very privileged and my parents work hard, my grandparents work very hard, but it's like I just can't. I don't know. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's hard and like and I kind of resonate with this dude's son, and he's very lucky to have a parent that's willing to have a deep conversation with him to understand why he feels the way he does because of the world right now. Because like at the end of the day, you'll never be able to understand their perspective without having a deep conversation with them. You know what I mean? If you don't have a deep conversation with them, then it's just gonna be like all in your head trying to assume what's going on. But you grew up differently. You know what I mean?
I really wanted to understand why he and his friends thought that their lives and their future was going to be bad no matter what they try to do. Now, what I heard was quite remarkable, and I'm going to share it with everyone. But please keep in mind, this is the point of view of a bunch of teenage boys in high school. Here are the key points mentioned. So there is a huge fear that there will be a scarcity of good jobs in the future. This fear of not being able to get money, not being able to build a secure and thriving future, of not being able to advance in life. It seems like their fathers, the older brothers, social media, they're telling the boys that getting good, high-paying jobs or careers will be next to impossible in the future. AI, humanoid robots, all of these things were mentioned as essentially a possible cause of this happening. Now, I think this is a really legitimate concern, right? Because as human civilization moves towards an increasingly automated future, the number of good, high-paying jobs for people really could drop through the floor. Now, my boy also has this opinion that in the near future, just in time for when he becomes an adult, inflation will skyrocket to the point where the price for basic staples like groceries would be so high that necessities would almost be like luxuries. Now, both of us, me and my boy, are science fiction fans. And we started talking about this 1970s science fiction movie called Soylent Green. This was like this dystopian world of the 2020s where a bag of groceries would cost more than $200. And both of us was like, oh my God, this movie actually happened in real life. And in reality, inflation in recent years have been so bad that the price of basic necessities, rent, food, transportation, utilities, these things have gotten so high that for the average young adult with the median income, pretty much all of their money is being eaten up just to exist.
That's what I was talking about earlier, how like many people say all you gotta do is just work hard, save money, you gotta live below your means. But your means are more or equal to how much you're even bringing in. So it makes no difference, you know what I'm saying?
Leaving almost no money for anything else. So this is also a very legit issue. So that then led to the question of assets. My son felt that by the time that he and his friends became men, it would be like joining a game of Monopoly at the end stages, where every single lot has already been bought up. The thought is that all the property, houses, land, assets, stocks, it would all be so high priced that they would not be able to acquire property for themselves. My boy thinks that price of housing, for example, will be so high that he'll never be able to purchase a house for himself. I also think this is a reasonable and legit concern, right? Because we've been in a kind of asset bubble where the valuation of assets have gotten so high that most young people can't really afford to make these major purchases and build their wealth. Another thing that we talked about is the lack of trust in major institutions like the government and corporations. And
Yeah, to be honest, like that, it's like every other day I hear them doing this corrupt ass thing, or I hear like about the files, or I hear about this person doing this person doing this person, or like doing this behind the scenes, the media telling you this to cover up this. It's like it's all bad, and those are the people that control our futures and our present right now. You know what I mean? So it's like that's just so like demoralizing. You know what I mean?
the leaders of these institutions. Now, I remember when I was a teenager in the 90s, right? My impression of the American government is like a version of Captain America, this sort of shining city on the hill, something for other countries and governments to emulate. If aliens are invading the earth or a comet is about to strike the world, I actually at the time expected the American government to step up and save humanity. I looked up to the president, to the CEOs of major corporations as role models that a person would aspire to become. Now, the younger generation, Gen Z, seems to see these institutions as being fundamentally corrupt and untrustworthy. And the leaders, they talk about these leaders as being a bunch of degenerate criminals. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about all of this, right? Because it seems to me that the internet has aired a lot of dirty laundry on the misdeeds of the leadership, that perhaps these same crimes happened in prior generations, but back then it would have just been covered up. It seems to me that
Oh, you know, that's a conversation that I have with my mom very often about like the crime rate. It's like how the crime rate, or this is very off topic, but the crime rate is very low now compared to like before. But because the news and everything, you see crimes happening all around, so you think it's happening more than it is. You know what I mean?
at this level of information transparency on the conduct of top leadership and top institutions is kind of destabilizing to the entire society. Now, the last thing that we talked about was, of course, woman troubles. So it sounds to me like the crux of the problem here is that young women, young Gen Z women, don't want to talk to the young men or really have anything to do with the young men. Now, this doesn't make much sense to me, right? Because man and woman, they have a natural need for each other. But I think there's a few things happening here. Now, naturally, young women would be attracted to sort of the top echelons of guys, right? In terms of physical looks, in terms of money, status, leadership, and so on. This is natural and reasonable. But it also seems that young women are also attracted to young men for their personality, character, and other intangible factors. But this secondary set of factors requires spending significant amount of time getting to know a guy. And somehow it seems to me that our socioeconomic system have taken these natural human tendencies and warped them into something dysfunctional.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know why he ended off the video like that, but I agree that like you can get with a girl just by being funny. That's how I got with both of my ex-girlfriends, but it's like, bro, friendships are always the best when they start from friends, bro. I'm telling you. But on to the last video, guys.
Honestly, bro, I've low-key checked out of society. Like, I still go hard for me in my personal life and, you know, the few that are, like, in my personal circle, like my immediate, like, corner and all that kind of stuff. But outside of that, everything that they said that we would get if we just worked hard for it, we're not getting that in life, gang. And on top of that, I don't even really want it anymore. But everything like a wife, a mortgage, okay, your kids living with you from, you know, birth to adulthood, you're not getting any of that shit. You're just not. All right, all this shit is nothing but debt and taxes and you know, theatrical politics and shit like that, and then you're just being used at the end of the day. Like, it's all bullshit. So high key, I just checked out for real. Like, I just do my own thing and going about my way. Like, I just do my own thing and I going about my way. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, to be honest, it's like society has made it so our place here is just to work, like to benefit other people, and it sucks, you know what I mean? But yeah, you know, that's why a lot of Gen Z people have like checked out or feel like like they have no motivation, yada yada. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, you know what I mean? Like and subscribe. Hope you guys have a good day. See you at the next video. Peace out.